We built a world where a text can feel heavier than a door knock. Your phone lights up on the table. You glance down. It is only one message, maybe 2 lines, maybe from someone you like. But before you even open it, your chest drops. Your body goes heavy. You swipe it away and tell yourself you will answer later, when you have more energy, more patience, more room in your head. Then later becomes tonight. Tonight becomes tomorrow. And now, to everybody else, it looks like you are rude, lazy, distant, or just do not care enough to answer. But that is not what happened. What happened is faster than that, smaller than that, more physical than that. A name appears on the screen, and your whole system feels the cost before your mind can even form the reply. That is why this pattern is so hard to explain to people who do not live it. They think the message is the event. To you, the message is the beginning of the event. The real weight is everything attached to it. The tone you have to read, the energy you have to find, the risk of sounding off, the chance that one reply turns into 10, the fact that once you answer, you are no longer just holding your own state. You are now carrying an interaction. And sometimes that is the exact thing you do not have the strength for. You can see this most clearly in ordinary moments. You get home after being around people you genuinely like. You close the door. The room goes quiet. Your body finally unclenches. Then the phone buzzes, and it feels like the quiet you just got back is already being taken from you. Or you are lying in bed, finally getting your mind to slow down, and one new message lights up the dark like a hand reaching in. Or you are halfway through making coffee, see a text preview, and suddenly the morning feels more crowded than it did 10 seconds ago. People watching from the outside think you are delaying a reply. What you are actually delaying is the moment you have to become reachable again. That is why even a harmless message can feel like pressure. Not because the other person is doing something wrong, not because you are cold, because your system is already full, and the message does not arrive as a neutral object. It arrives as a possible conversation, a possible obligation, a possible emotional shift. It asks for attention. It asks for tone. It asks for presence. And when you are already tired, those things do not feel small. They feel expensive. This is also why your guilt gets involved so quickly. You do not usually ignore messages because you do not care. You ignore them because you care enough to know that replying halfway will bother you. You do not want to sound flat. You do not want to disappoint someone. You do not want to open a door you cannot stay inside. So you postpone until you can do it right. But that is where the trap begins, because the message changes while it sits there. At first, it is just a message. Then it becomes a delayed message. Then it becomes proof that you are late. Then it becomes a small emotional debt. Now the screen is not showing one text. It is showing pressure, guilt, explanation, and the awkwardness of coming back after disappearing. So of course it gets harder to open on day 2 than it was on day 1. Of course your hand hovers over it and pulls back. Of course you think, not now, I need a better moment for this. That better moment keeps moving. A lot of people with this pattern were trained into it without realizing. They were the easy one to reach. The one who replied fast. The one who noticed shifts in tone. The one who could tell when someone was upset before anyone said it. The one who softened tension, kept the peace, checked in, stayed thoughtful, stayed careful, stayed available. They got very good at emotional responsiveness. They became the person other people could enter quickly. There is a cost to that. If you spend enough time reading moods, managing reactions, and making sure other people feel okay, communication stops feeling light. Even the smallest interaction starts carrying extra weight. Your mind begins scanning ahead. What will this require? How long will this last? Do I need to sound cheerful? Will they be hurt if I am brief? Do I have enough energy to carry another tone, another need, another thread? That scanning happens so fast it barely feels like thought anymore. It feels like body language inside your own body. Heavy chest, slower breath, sudden fatigue. A need to turn the phone face down, step away, and come back when your insides feel less crowded. Studies on social stress suggest that when the nervous system stays too alert to other people's moods and demands, even small interactions start landing like extra load instead of simple contact. That one sentence matters because it explains something people often shame themselves for. You are not weak because a text feels heavy. You are not dramatic because your energy drops before you type. Your body is not reacting to letters on a screen. It is reacting to anticipated demand. That is the difference. And this is where the script usually gets misunderstood, so it needs to be said clearly. This is not about hating people. It is not about preferring isolation because you are above connection. It is not about being too deep, too sensitive, too special to text back. It is simpler than that, harder than that, less flattering than that. You are tired of being emotionally open on command. You are tired of being instantly reachable. You are tired of carrying tone. You are tired of feeling claimed by every ping. You are tired of other people entering your head before you have even finished returning to yourself. That is the real exhaustion. Not the message, not the screen, not even the person. The required energy, the required availability, the required continuation. And once that becomes the pattern, something painful starts happening. You can like someone and still dread their name on your phone. You can miss people and still avoid answering them. You can crave closeness in the abstract and feel immediate relief when plans get canceled in real life. You can be kind, loving, loyal, and still feel your whole body resist one new notification. That contradiction confuses people around you. Sometimes it confuses you too, because it makes you wonder whether you are withdrawing for the right reasons or just disappearing because disappearing feels easier. Whether you need recovery or whether avoidance has slowly become your main coping style. Whether your silence is protecting your energy or quietly training your life to get smaller. That is the line that matters. A boundary creates space, then helps you return. A wall creates distance, then makes returning harder. Recovery says, I need a minute so I can come back honestly. Avoidance says, I cannot deal with this now, and maybe not tomorrow either. Being alone can be relief. Being cut off can become another kind of exhaustion. So the answer is not to shame yourself for feeling tired when the message arrives. Shame just makes the reply heavier. The answer is also not to romanticize the silence. Not every urge to disappear is wisdom. Some of it is self-protection. Some of it is depletion. Some of it is habit. What helps is something much smaller and much more honest. You do not need the perfect reply. You need a bridge. Sometimes the healthiest thing is not a full conversation. It is one clean sentence that keeps the door human without handing over all your energy. A simple, I saw this. I'm low on bandwidth. I'll reply when I can think clearly. Not polished, not warm in 5 different ways, not over-explained, just honest enough to stop the guilt from growing teeth. Because a delayed perfect message often costs you more than a simple truthful one. And that is the calmer truth underneath all of this. The problem is not that you feel tired when a message appears. The problem is when every message becomes proof that you are failing other people, and every pause turns into disappearance. That is when overload stops being a signal and starts becoming a cage. So yes, people may call this coldness. They may call it rude. They may think you are ignoring them because you do not care enough. But the more accurate name is usually much less cruel. You are not empty. You are not careless. You are not heartless. You are overdrawn. And when you are overdrawn, even small contact can feel like a withdrawal you cannot afford. That is why your hand swipes the screen away. That is why your body gets heavy before your mind has words. That is why silence can feel less like rejection and more like oxygen. Some people do not delay replies because they feel too little. They delay them because being reachable has started to cost more energy than anyone can see.